Once again, before our show gets started, if you have any relatives and friends that would like to watch the show today, that is being made available by the Blair radio station. They may go to YouTube streaming at Dodge County Fair NE 4561. There are no capitals, no periods, no spaces. It's just one big long trail. So once again, they can go to YouTube streaming at Dodge County Fair NE 4561. The Dodge County Fair Board would like me to announce that this evening, any Dodge County veterans, Dodge County 4-Hers, or Dodge County FFA members may pick up from the office a free ticket for tonight's tractor pull. So once again, if you reside in Dodge County and you're a veteran, an FFA member, or a 4-H member, if you go over to the fair office, they will give you a free ticket to go to the tractor pull tonight. So we just wanted to make sure you knew that. We are going to do a first call for Senior Showmanship Division 1. Class 1, I'm sorry. First call, Senior Showmanship, first flight. In that first flight, we have Addison Ruskamp, Kaylee Gregory, Addison Burrish, Graham Mueller, and Cassie Swanson. Once again, this is a first call, Senior Showmanship, first flight. In that first flight is Addison Ruskamp, Kaylee Gregory, Addison Burish, Graham Mueller, Cassie Swanson. While we're waiting to start, don't forget, if you are a division winner or an overall winner today, make sure those medal placards that you will get with your prizes get hung on your stall and returned at the end of the fair to the fair office on Sunday, or the 4-H office on Sunday as well. Make sure all your wood chips get moved to the middle of the aisle Sunday on your way out to help with cleanup for the fair board as well. There are the ribbon stickers. The fair board would like you to get those. They are up here on the announcer stand. Just come and help yourself. They would like those to be put up in your stalls as well, so that visitors to our fair this year know how your exhibits did. Once again, wood chips to the center aisles on Sunday. Stickers for ribbon placings need to be on your stall cards. Metal signs back to the 4-H office on Sunday so they can be reused. This will be a second and final call for the first flight of Senior Showman. In that first flight, we have Addison Ruskamp, Kaylee Gregory, Addison Burish, Graham Mueller, Cassie Swanson. Our judge today is Jerry Gross. He has 45 years of experience in the sheep industry. With the help of his family, he owns and operates GT Sheep Company. Their business is focused on registered breeding stock and club lambs. They have sold sheep to producers in 31 states and Canada. He and his family have shown and bred winners at the local, state, and national level. Jerry has served as on the board of directors for the Continental Dorset Club and is a graduate of UNL. At UNL, he was a member of the livestock judging team. We would like to welcome Jerry to our show today. Currently in the arena is our first flight of Senior Showmanship. This will be a first call for that second flight of Senior Showmanship. First call for the second flight of Senior Showman. In that flight will be Easton Ruskamp, Olivia Burish, Madeline Miller, and Aubrey Swanson. Once again, there are goat programs available up here to the south of the announcer stand on the lower shelf. They are in a wooden box and they are orange. This is a second and final call for the second flight of Senior Showman. Second and final call for the second flight of Senior Showman. Now entering the arena will be our second flight of Senior Showman. In this flight, we have Olivia Burish, Madeline Miller, and Aubryn Swanson. So flight 2 of Senior Showman, we have Olivia Burish, Madeline Miller, and Aubryn Swanson. We would like to thank the Nebraska Farm Bureau for providing lunch today. So if you are looking for lunch, they are over on the side of the sheep barn. So make sure you get some lunch courtesy of the Farm Bureau, and make sure you give them a huge thank you for providing that for us today. This will be a first call for intermediate showmanship. First call, intermediate showmanship. In the arena, we are now choosing our champion and reserve champion senior showman of today's show. The champion and reserve champion will go on to participate in our round robin showmanship competition on Sunday. And the winner of the round robin wins the right to represent Dodge County at the Nebraska State Fair competition. Currently in the arena, we have Kaylee Gregory, Addison Burish, Graham Mueller, and Olivia Burish. Receiving blues in senior showmanship were Addison Rustcamp, Cassie Swanson, Madeline Miller, and Auburn Swanson. This is a first call for intermediate showman. This will be a second and final call, intermediate showman. Second and final call, intermediate showman.
In the ring are our top 4 purple winning senior showmen. I think a lot of things they do the same, but yet there's some differences that really separate them. We're going to just talk about them in order and what I see and what I change. 4th place is going to go to this young man right here. I think when we started, I thought, gosh, he's a contender to win the class. In terms, when we put this doe into motion, this is the guy that either he's put the work in, has a female with the right attitude, or both, but really like the way he moves that doe around the ring. The gait is at the proper speed, the head's up, it's effortless. And then we get to where we park her, and that's when things kind of go the other direction for me. You have a tendency to want to stretch that doe out a little too much for me. I think if you can get the legs under her, give me a better silhouette when she's parked, you could easily move up in the class. That's something I think that's easily correctable. A female that you've spent a lot of time working with, I think it's just knowing what right is and then hitting it every time. Second and third gets a little bit closer for me. I'm going to give the advantage to movement to this young lady. She's going to be second. I know these goats are hard to move around the ring at the time. They're a little more stubborn than sheep. They have more personality. But for a judge to get a look at them and to win when we get into bigger shows, they've just got to walk, and they've got to walk effortlessly. That's the advantage. She knows what right is. She can get it set up. I mean, I'm looking at this Doling now, a little stretched for me, but she hits her braces, and I think that's the consistency as we move into. We've got third. Second will go here. Disadvantage would be on movement. I really like the way she sticks this weather for me. When I come and get my hands on it, it's tight, it's ready to go. And that's really important. These goats handle lean. We want them to handle hard. When we put the whole thing together for overall, it's pretty straightforward. I think the girl with the brown doe is going to win. I think she just gives me the most of the best consistently from the time we start the class till we end it. She has the combination of getting them to move, getting the feet in the corners, and getting me a brace. Good job, everyone. Let's give them a round of applause.
Our champion senior showman today was Addison Burrish. Reserve championship honors went to Olivia Burrish, and third place senior showman was Kaylee Gregory. Now entering the arena will be our intermediate showmen. These intermediate showmen are the ages of 10 to 13 as of January 1st. This will be a first call for junior showmanship. First call, junior showmanship. This will be a second and final call, junior showman. Second and final call, junior showman. Don't forget, we do have the Farm Bureau here today providing lunch, so make sure you stop by, get something for lunch, and tell them thank you for sponsoring that for us today.
In the ring are our 4 purple ribbon winners competing for the top 3 in the intermediate showmen. I think a group that did a good job. There's certainly some differences, and I think as we look particularly at 3rd and 4th, it gets awful close for me, and it kind of changes throughout the class, I guess. When I look at who gets them moved around the ring, who gets them set up most consistently, gives me the best looks. I think it's real close, but we're going to go ahead. We're going to make you 4th today. You're going to be 3rd. So good job in terms of getting them to move. I think the separation is, I think you've got enough size and you're stout enough, you can reach and get those legs set up a little better for me. And I kind of take that in consideration as we look at size and perhaps age, but just don't stretch that weather for me. Get the feet underneath, and I think you can move up. As we get in, I think a real logical place to go for 2nd. I think maybe she doesn't move around the ring as fluidly as the other 2, but I think when we park them, I think she's a better showman. She knows what right is. She's hitting her braces. She's getting the head up, and for the most part, getting the feet placed correctly. Young man, you're going to be 1st. I think you won the class real easily. I think you know how to stick one and show one. Good job.
Receiving champion intermediate showman was Owen Gregory. Reserve champion intermediate showman went to Claire Mueller. 3rd place intermediate showmanship honors went to Matt Rui. And receiving 4th place was Tabalo Rui. This will be a first call for those Clover kids. First call, Clover kids. Entering the arena is our junior showmen. These showmen are ages 8 to 9 years old as of January 1st. microphone problems. We're working on getting those solved. This will be a first call for Class 1. First call, Class 1 breeding meat goats. First call, Class 1 breeding meat goats. Backing up to the junior showmanship class, our champion junior showman was Laurel Mueller. Our second place reserve champion junior showman was Emerson Swanson. And third place junior showmanship honors went to Lucas Boast. Currently in the arena is our Clover Kid. This will be a second and final call for Class 1. Our Clover Kid showmen today are Wilson Mueller and Nolan Mueller. This will be a second and final call for Class 1 breeding meat goats. Second and final call, Class 1 breeding meat goats.
Test, test.
going to be a second final call for that Class 2 Division 1. Second final call, Class 2 Division 1.
In our yearling doe class, I'm going to award 2 purples. I'm starting with the bigger outline female. I think this one, I don't necessarily care how big they are. They're just more good in this one. She stands down on a bigger foot. She's bigger through the center part of her rig, her middle body. And I think most importantly, she's leveler top. There's just more female here. There's more capacity. There's more muscle in a prettier package. I think the doe in second, though, is worthy of a purple as well. She's one that's useful. She's sound on her feet and legs. Both of these does get around the ring real well when you put them into motion, and I like that. I think for this one to move up, if we could just pretty her up a little bit, level her out, I think she should compete with the other one, but we're going to leave them how they are. 2 purples. Congratulations.
In Class 1 Division 1 breeding meat goat yearlings, top purple went to Claire Mueller. Second purple went to Graham Mueller. Our champion breeding yearling doe was Claire Mueller. Reserve champion was shown by Graham Mueller. Currently in the arena is our Class 2 Division 1 breeding meat goat kid does. This will be a first call for Class 3 Division 1 breeding meat goats. First call, Class 3 Division 1 breeding meat goats.
2 purples and the balance will be blues in this doling class. I think a real nice pair to start with. They separate themselves from the rest of the class pretty easily. I think the one I'm starting with, I'm real confident I've got the more attractive one. I really like the front 1/3 of this doling. I think she's up in her chest floor. And when you get your hands on her, I think there's more true rack shape to this one than maybe the one in second. Additionally, I think if you're going to give an advantage to foot size, I think it's also with this one. But I think what you're getting with the one I'm starting with is a more eye-appealing package and one that's stronger behind the shoulders with bigger rack shape. This one in second is the one that the center body is amazing. This one's really cracked open. She's round ribbed, and I like that about her, and she's real broody. I think this one, if we could strengthen her in the shoulders, give her a little more up in that rack, and a little stronger, and clean up that front end, she goes to the top. As we go down and we get into the blues, I think we just give up so much stoutness compared to the 2 we started with. Each of them kind of has their, you can go ahead, purple, and you go, thank you. The blues, I think just we kind of follow in progression of muscle with the next one. I think she's the one that in terms of capacity, rib shape kind of naturally falls there. And then we get to these 3, and I think the way to describe them is I think they're females that are good on their feet and legs. They're flatter ribbed, and they're not as stout, and they just need to stay in the blues for me to go any higher today. Thanks.
Top purple in class 2 went to Kaylee Gregory. Second purple went to Claire Mueller. Receiving blue ribbons were Lucas Boast, Addison Burish, and Cassie Swanson. Now entering the arena will be class 3 Division I breeding meat goat kiddos. At the conclusion of class 3, we will need Kaylee Gregory and Claire Mueller back with their meat goat kiddos from class 2 Division I so that we can choose our champion breeding kiddo.
In our second class of doe kids, two really nice females to start with. These are the kind that start to get me excited in terms of females that have enough capacity, they have enough muscle, and the separation is, these are really attractive from the side view. I think the one we're starting with, if from a silhouette, balance, straightness of lines, front end, this is the one. Is real striking when he gets her parked. She moves right, and we like that about her. Keeps her stance wide. Just a real kind of complete female. You could always make her stouter, but it's hard to get them pretty and get them really stout at the same time. One in second most closely follows the one we started with. Maybe one that when we get parked gets a little bit narrow, getting on her hocks, maybe gets a little bit too close as we put her into motion, and we don't like that about her. Probably advantage, maybe a little more capacity than the one in first, but not the silhouette, not the structural integrity of the one we started with. Going down to third and fourth, I think they kind of naturally fall where they do. I think the difference in these two, the advantage of overall volume, overall muscle goes to the one we put in third. The one in fourth is a good female. She just gets out-powered. I think she looked more in place in that second class than she did here. She's correct enough. She just gets out-horsed. Next one is one that's kind of a problem kind of female. If you want one cracked open and wide and burly and full of capacity, then you get excited about this one. But that's kind of where it ends. If you want a little bit of look, some strength behind the shoulders, get that front end with some femininity, that's where this one falls short. But I really like how stout she is. That's good. I just wish she was more feminine in her design. And then we get down to two that are probably age disadvantaged, they're weight disadvantaged, and get a little bit just get out horsed. However, when you put these into motion, they're pretty right in their lines. There's just not enough to them today to run the rest of the class, but they're good females. Let's give these young exhibitors a round of applause.
Top purple from class 3 went to Kaylee Gregory. Second purple went to Kaylee Gregory. Also receiving a purple was Laurel Mueller. Receiving blues were Olivia Burrish, Reagan Miller, and Graham Mueller. We will now be choosing our champion and reserve champion breeding kid doe of today's show. For that, we have from class 2, division 1, Kaylee Gregory and Claire Mueller. From class 3, division 1, we have Kaylee Gregory and Kaylee Gregory. At the conclusion of our selection of our champion and reserve champion breeding kid doe, we need Claire Mueller back to the arena with her class 1 division 1 champion breeding yearling doe, and Graham Mueller back to the arena with his reserve champion breeding yearling doe. Currently in the arena, we are choosing our champion and reserve champion breeding kid doe. This will be a first call for Class 1 Division 1 market meat goats. First call, Class 1 Division 1 market meat goats.
Right now we're going to select our junior champion females, then we'll bring them in to compete against the yearlings for overall breeding female. We just talked about these in class, so we'll keep our comments till we get to the final drive. I'll show you the two I like.
Championship Breeding Kiddo honors went to Kaylee Gregory, and Reserve Championship Breeding Kiddo also went to Kaylee Gregory. Now entering the arena will be our Supreme Champion Breeding Meat Goat selection and Reserve Supreme Champion Breeding Meat Goat selection for today's show. For that we have, with their Champion Breeding Yearling Doe, Claire Mueller, Reserve Champion Breeding Yearling Doe, Graham Mueller, Champion Breeding Kid Doe, Kaylee Gregory, Reserve Champion Breeding Kid Doe, Kaylee Gregory. This is a second and final call for Class 1, Division 1. A second and final call, Class 1, Division 1.
As we get to the end of the breeding show, I think real happy with what I have out here in terms of the contenders for the Champion Reserve. Appreciate all the exhibitors. Let's give everybody a round of applause. So once again, we talked about them in class. I think there's two that fall together pretty easily for me. We'll go ahead and make them Champion Reserve and get on with the market show. Congratulations all.
Our Supreme Champion Breeding Meat Goat of today's show was shown by Kaylee Gregory. Reserve Supreme Champion Breeding Meat Goat honors also went to Kaylee Gregory. Now entering the arena will be our Class 1 Division 2 Market Meat Goats. They weigh from 47 to 65 pounds. This is a first call, Class 2 Division 1. First call, Class 2 Division 1 Market Meat Goats. Second and final call, Class 2 Division 1. Second and final call, Class 2 Division 1.
of them, I think in general, they're not correctly finished. They're just too green. And so now as we kind of try to sort these out, correctness of finish is what sorts them for me. The dairy influence, Nubian weather, we're going to go with second. One that I think is more correctly finished. Granted, has some over the other two, but I think even besides that, when we get your hands over its top, it's more correct in its finish. As we go farther down, just keep it. Weathers that need time on feed. They're just too green to go any higher today. Thank you. In this class will be 2 purples and the rest will be blue. I think a pair that separates itself quite easily from the rest of the class. We've got 2 what I'd call show goats to start with. I mean, the one we're starting with, the advantage over the second place one, this one is just more, when you get behind its center, inner and outer leg, there's more to him, and you get your hands on him behind the shoulders, that rack pops up a little bit. There's just more red meat, more muscle in this one. He goes to the top. I think they're both attractive from silhouette, maybe advantage slightly to the second one, but this one just gets a little bit flatter, particularly when you look at this one from behind center leg. It tapers a little bit. I'd like to round her out, punch a little more punch on this whether to move any higher. The black doe, one that's very correctly finished and deceptively bigger top than you might think. I think the advantage over the brown-headed wether behind her is she's better in her line. She's better in her top. I think the muscle's about a push, but I'll give the advantage to look and eye appeal to the black doe. This next one kind of naturally falls where he does. This wether's big topped, kind of creased up, just really plain for me on the side view. Would like to straighten this one out and its lines, fix it up skeletally. Much the same on this one. Very, very similar, maybe an advantage in freshness to the one ahead of it. The one that rounds out the class is one I would like to go higher with. I like the stoutness of this one. This female's own art. The deal is, Bud, your doe here, she's probably the fattest one in the class for me. She just needs to get some Ozempic. Joke, we don't need to give that to livestock, but she needs to lean up a little bit, and I think you could go higher. Good job.
If Auburn Swanson could please report back to the arena so that we can choose our champion and reserve champion market meat goats from Division 1. We need Auburn Swanson to report back with her goat from Class 1 Division 1 that has a scrapie tag 28. We'll now be choosing our champion and reserve champion market meat goat of Division 1. For that, we have from Class 1 Division 1, Auburn Swanson, and from Class 2 Division 1, we have Owen Gregory with his champion and with his purple ribbons from Class 2. This is a first call for Class 3 Division 2. First call, Class 3 Division 2. This will be a final call for that Class 3 Division 2. Receiving champion market meat goat from Division 1 was Owen Gregory. Reserve champion market meat goat from Division 1 was also shown by Owen Gregory. Now entering the arena will be Class 3 Division 2 market meat goats. These goats weigh from 82 to 89 pounds. First call, Class 4 Division 2. First call, Class 4 Division 2. Once again, don't forget if you're a division winner or champions and you get those metal placards, the Fair Board asks that you please put those above your show stalls so that our visitors to the fair can see how your exhibit did. They also ask that you get the ribbon placing stickers that are up here on the announcer's stand to put on your stall card as well, so that our visitors can also see how well your animals did.
In our first class of heavyweights, for me, a real straightforward class and an easy class winner to start with. We've got the level, the structurally correct, the cracked open one with the most red meat to start with. He just does everything better than the rest of them, comes to the top pretty easily. The second place one's kind of interesting. Really like the handle, the crease. You put one in motion and this is what correctly finished look like. This is a lean weather and I like that about him. And he handles hard and you get through the shoulders, you see the crease. This is proper for me. Where he falls apart is just kind of plain and doesn't balance up, particularly through that front 1/3. He maybe gets a little long in his blade, a little bit clunky fronted, but love the finish, and there's enough muscle in this one. It's just too plain of a package. The next three, all with some problems, and you try to sort them out for what's the least offensive. The one we're going with probably gives me the combination of structure, leanness, and muscle. The advantage over the second place one is significantly leaner. We just can't have these goats fat. Not as stout, certainly, but more correct in its finish. The wether that's second from the bottom is one by far probably the fattest wether I've seen today. If we could lean this one up, you could probably move up 2 places. This is a good one. He's just kind of overcooked for me today. And then, young man, you've got one that you fed right, correctly finished. For me, this one structurally just kind of, I see it as kind of an animal in kind of 3 pieces, and you want them all to blend together. And this one, the pieces just don't fit. Kind of short-sided, kind of clunky fronted, and needs a little more behind. But you've done a good job feeding him. He's correctly finished, and I like that about him a lot. Good job.
Receiving top purple was Owen Gregory. Second purple was Olivia Burrish. Receiving blues were Reagan Miller, Addison Burrish, and Tabalo Rui. Now entering the arena will be our Class 4 Division II market meat goats. These goats weigh from 90 to 112 pounds. At the conclusion of Class 4, we will need Owen Gregory and Olivia Burrish back to the arena with their Class 3 Division II market meat goats. At the conclusion of choosing our champion and reserve champion market meat goats of today's show, we will need Owen Gregory back with his champion and reserve champion meat goats from Division 1. And we would like to take this time to thank our judge, Jerry Gross, as well as our superintendents, Tammy and Jim Burrish and Andy Swanson, as well as our Fair Board representatives, Houston Mosman and DJ Model, and our 4-H ambassadors, Kelsey Bunn and Brooke Weiss, for helping run this show today. We couldn't do it without any of them. So let's put our hands together in a thank you for their volunteering and helping with today's show. A huge shout out to all of our donors that are listed inside the front page of our program as well. If you happen to go into any of their establishments or see them personally, please thank them for donating to the 4-H program. It helps fund the program throughout the year. Also, thank you to our show arena sponsors that have banners hanging around the arena as well. Remember, we would like all of our division and Supreme winners to get their pictures taken back at the backdrop for any newspapers that are here as well. A huge thank you out to Blair Radio for being here and streaming live our shows this morning. That is hugely appreciated by the families as well. We would also like to take this opportunity to thank Farm Bureau of Fremont for providing our lunch today. If you haven't gotten lunch yet, they have delicious pork sandwiches over there and chips and water. So make sure you get a lunch and thank them for providing this for our exhibitors and their families today. It's greatly appreciated.
In our heavyweight class, we're going to go with 3 purples and the balance will be blue. I don't know that there is a logical place to start this class. There's 3 that separate themselves, and there's good in each one of these, but they're different. The one I started with, I'm confident I got the heavy muscled stout one on top, and he's correctly finished. And I think those things alone can get him to where he needs to be in terms of winning the class. I wish he was in a more eye-appealing package, but he is as stout as anything in the class, and maybe as many pounds of red meat as anything we looked at today. I'd like to see him just stronger behind the shoulders and more attractive. That's where the brown weather comes in. He is the side view weather in the class. He's got a showy profile, and I like that about him. He's just not as stout, not as cracked open. If we could change that, he could go a little higher. The one in purple is one that kind of a more conventional kind of a package, a little more compact. This one, I love the rib shape, the center body, love the top. We get a little bit plain, a little bit coarse fronted, and certainly of the three on top, the most over finish. This one is not lean enough to go any higher, but it's certainly acceptable to stay in the purples. Big contrast as we move into the blue, we start to see structure problems crop up and really kind of bite us. Some weathers that just aren't as right in their lines and aren't stout enough. The one on the end I'll call out, we got kind of two things going against her. She's a female and she's heavy, and these females tend to finish quicker and get overdone, and that's the case. This is a pretty good kind of a female market goat, just overdone for me. If we could lean this one up, we could go up 2 or 3 places. So work on that, but you've got a real nice animal. Congratulations.
Receiving top purple in Class 4 was Claire Mueller. Second purple went to Addison Burish. Also receiving a purple was Graham Mueller. Receiving blues were Olivia Burish, and Laurel Mueller. We'll now be choosing our champion and reserve champion market meat goat for today's show from Division 2. For that we have from Class 3, Owen Gregory and Olivia Burish. From Class 4, we have Claire Mueller and Addison Burish. At the conclusion of choosing our champion and reserve champion market meat goat for today's show, we will be choosing our supreme and reserve supreme champion meat goat of today's show. For that, we will need from Division 1, Owen Gregory with his champion and reserve champion market meat goats. Once again, do not forget on Sunday when you are getting ready to go home to put all those wood chips out in the aisle to help out the fair board. Also remember to put all your stall placards up and to get the ribbon stickers here at the announcer stand. They're here in jars. Just grab them and put them up, as well as we would like our visitors to the fair to know how your exhibits did during the show. Currently in the arena, we are choosing our champion and reserve champion market meat goat from Division 2. At the conclusion of that, we will take our champion and reserve champion from this division, as well as from Division 1, the champion and reserve champion market meat goats, which were showed by Owen Gregory, to choose our champion and reserve champion market overall. Champion Market Meat Goat from Division 2 was shown by Owen Gregory. Reserve Champion Market Meat Goat, Division 2 was shown by Claire Mueller. We are now choosing our overall Supreme Champion Market Meat Goats for today's show. Heads up, if you were a winner in the Senior Sheep Showmanship, the Junior Sheep Showmanship, the Senior Goat Showmanship, the Intermediate Goat Showmanship. The Logan View FFA have donated, as well as Baumgars, for our Senior Sheep Showman, our Junior Sheep Showman, our Senior Goat Showman, and our Intermediate Goat Showman. They have donated some extra prizes here. For Senior Showman, it's a blanket, a fluffer comb, a bucket, a sheep halter and conditioner. Junior Sheep is a sheep halter, slicker brush, shampoo, fluffer comb, and a $5 Baumgars gift card. Senior Goat Showman, a goat blanket, a bucket, a fluffer comb, shampoo, and slicker brush. Intermediate Goat Showmanship is a bucket, a fluffer comb, shampoo, a slicker brush, and grooming brush. So if you were one of those winners, make sure you come to the announcer stand and pick up these awards that were these prizes that were donated by the Logan View FFA and Baumgars. Please make sure you send a thank you to them for those prizes as well.
As we wrap up today and select our overall champion and reserve market lamb, I'd just like to say a sincere thank you. Thank you to all the exhibitors, all the families, every staff, everybody that made this possible. Really appreciate the way your kids, these guys, the ones that aren't in the ring, interacted with each other, dealt with the rain. I didn't see anybody freak out that their goat was wet or that numbers were falling off their backs. Just kind of did our thing, and I appreciate that, because we want to have fun. It's competition, but the things you'll remember, you know, the people that win, and I look back at this as both an exhibitor and as a parent. You don't remember the wins as much as you do the funny stories and the trips and the things that happen outside the ring, whatever it may be. That you'll barely remember. There'll be one or two animals in your show career that were winners that you'll remember, but you'll remember everything else and what your parents did for you. Kids, appreciate your parents. I'll go show you the two I like. Thank you so much. Had a good time.
Our Supreme Champion Market Meat Goat today was shown by Owen Gregory. Reserve Supreme Champion Market Meat Goat was shown by Owen Gregory. Don't forget to use the backboard to the south end of the show arena if you would like pictures. Once again, make sure you thank everyone that has donated and put in time so that the show